Vande Gujarat. Happy New Year to all the viewers, dear students, if faculties are there. This is the first lecture in physics, or you can say especially in electronics for this year, and I am feeling very happy to deliver it to you. I will try to explain some fundamentals about the transistor circuits, how they are analyzed, and what are the parameters which are important or more used in general cases. So today we will talk about the transistor circuits with respect to the H parameters. H parameters, what they are, and how they evaluated for a particular transistor or as an amplifier as a whole, that we will try to find out. So let us start the today's lecture. Okay, so go to the slide. I would like to introduce myself. I am Dr. T.H. Patel from VP Science College. I am the Associate Professor in Physics, and that's it, my work that you will evaluate, and let us we go for that. Okay, let us come to the first slide now. What today we will try to cover the following topics: transistor operation modes, its characteristics, performance parameters, and some analysis methods. Then about the H parameters derivation by considering transistor as a two-port system. From that we will define what are the H parameters for a particular transistor in a particular mode, and then we will go for the equivalent circuit of a transistor using that H parameters. How H parameters, once we know, can be measured in a particular mode, that will also be discussed. Now another methods such as equivalent circuit method for a common amplifier circuit using H parameters, that we will also discuss, and finally some definition regarding common emitter transistor amplifier that we will see. At last we will take one example and we will go for the summary what we have discussed today and what are the outcomes. So I am introducing you first of all the transistors, as we know very well. Okay, a transistor is a three terminal device. Okay, a collector, base and emitter. If we take N, P, N structure, N means N type semiconductor, P means P type semiconductor, that we know very well. If the construction is like this, then we call that it is a NPN transistor formation. And second possibility that you can see in the second image, that is a PNP structure with central base as a N type. So these are the two main structures of the transistors that we know. Symbolically they are represented in this way. You can see that here we have 1, 2 and 3 terminals, a circle and the symbol. The arrow over here that distinguishes the emitter from the rest of the two terminals, and likewise in case of PNP we distinguish or we use an arrow to distinguish the emitter terminal from the rest of the two terminals. This we have studied earlier. So let us go ahead. Now these are the pictures of some transistor. You may have performed experiments with transistors in your laboratory, but maybe the transistor are there within the box or you are not able to see them. So that's why this picture I am presenting to you. Just you can see different kind of transistors. Once you see here a 3-leg terminal, second another 3-leg terminals. So different kind of transistors and different shapes are also possible with them, but these are the, you can say, a general picture of a transistor. Now as it has 3 terminals, a transistor can be operated in 3 modes via keeping one of the 3 terminal common. For example, in the figure we can see that a base terminal is kept common. One section that is forming an input section, that is emitter and base. Another we call is the output junction formed via collector and base. So this was a symbolical representation of common base circuit of a transistor. If you look at construction wise NPN transistor, how it looks, that we can see in that. Okay, here you can see the currents also, the direction of emitter current, the direction of collector current, and the base current. You are also seeing these two batteries VEB and VCB. Now what these batteries are? Why we connect them? We know that the transistor cannot perform operation without any energy. So we supply DC energy to it, and normally we referred it as a DC biasing of the transistors. So these two batteries, particularly VEB and VCB, they bias the transistors, and they are called as the biasing components of the circuit. The second case, you can say, when we kept emitter common, as you can see in this figure, okay, that if you keep emitter common between the base emitter, then and the second junction, you can say, or the second section, collector and emitter. So these are the two junctions, the output junction between collector and emitter, and the input junction between base and emitter. We call it as a common emitter circuit. And you can also see here how by using different biasing circuits, a common emitter voltage amplifier circuits can be fabricated. That I hope that you have come across this kind of circuits in your study. Now the third mode, we have seen the common emitter mode, common base mode, and the third terminal of the transistor collector, so common collector mode. So how in common collector mode the circuit can be drawn? I am assigning you as a homework. Go through the books, you find out how the common collector transistor circuit is drawn and how it looks like. A little bit assignment to you. Okay. Now we are switching on to the transistor characteristics. We have seen what is a transistor, and now we will switch to the what are the characteristics that a transistor can give to us, because they are very important and their characteristics decides this application. Okay, go to this slide. We are going to this next slide. Okay, the transistor characteristics, actually what they are, it is nothing but the graphical representation of relation among different currents and voltages. We know, we have seen in the earlier figures that there are many currents and voltages associated when a transistor is operated, either in common emitter, common collector or common base mode. So if we interrelate them graphically, whatever comes out we call is its characteristics. Okay, so what we mean by transistor characteristics, be clear that it is nothing but the graphical representation of the current and voltage. Normally they are referred as the static characteristics curve. Okay, now since we have two junctions, input and output, or we can say two section, input section and output section of the circuit when transistor is operated, we label two types of characteristics. One, the input characteristics. What is that? The input characteristics is nothing but the curve of input current with the input voltage when we keep the output voltage constant. So it is very easy to remember, a input current and input voltage when output voltage is constant. So graph of this, that we call is as input characteristics. Likewise output characteristics. Now if you think logically, then again you can answer what is the meaning of output characteristics. That it is a curve of output current with output voltage. Now at a constant input, but mind well, at this time we are keeping the input current constant. In earlier case, in the input characteristics, it was the output voltage which was kept to be constant. So input characteristics and output characteristics, these are defined in this way. Now this each of these characteristics, either input or output, they may be different for different transistor a little bit, but if you change the mode of operation, that is common base or common emitter or common collector, then each mode has its own set of characteristics, and these characteristics leads to the application of a transistor in a particular device for a particular purpose. Okay, so these curves in a particular modes are very important. They are used to study the performance parameters, and the performance parameter, just like our body has some parameters, physical parameters like that, that decides our applicability for a particular event, maybe, or anything like that. Okay, everybody has its own identifying points. So likewise transistors are recognized or identified via their parameters, and these parameters can be determined from this kind of transistor characteristics. So characteristics leads to the knowledge of the parameters, and these parameters later on decide which kind of application a particular transistor in a particular mode can have. Okay, so we need to find out the parameters. Okay, now which are these parameters generally? The input and output impedance of the transistor by itself, what is its current gain and what is its voltage gain. Okay, so these are the four main parameters. Once again I am repeating: input and output impedance, current gain and voltage gain. Now apart from that, sometimes bandwidth is also important, particularly when a transistor is used in a circuit where communication purposes or amplification purposes are to be performed or to be carried out. Now to determine these kind of parameters, that what a particular transistor has a what kind of parameters, what are the values, okay, we need to analyze the circuits. By the analysis of that circuit, we come to the knowledge of the parameters. Now there are many methods that we can apply to know the performance parameters, or you can say to analyze the transistor circuit to determine the input impedance, either current or voltage gain, or its output impedance. Now mainly equivalent circuit method and graphical method, these are the two widely used method. Okay. Once again, in graphical method, characteristics curves are used to find out the parameters, and that is some tedious. We must have the corresponding characteristics for that transistor, either input or output, and from that graphs we are able to find out the H parameter values, okay, or any other parameters value. Now the equivalent circuit method, again, that should be carried out in two ways. One is the AC equivalent circuit method, by which we can analyze the circuit, and the second one, that is the H parameter model. So now we come to the point, H parameter model, and that what we are going to find out about that. So two methods for analysis to know the parameters, either AC equivalent circuit and H parameter model. Now generally H parameter model is preferred. Now why this H parameter model of the circuit is important, okay, or in other words you can say why H parameters are important. Let us find out that. Now while trying to knowing about the H parameters of a particular transistor, we should consider transistor as a two-port network system. Okay, here we can see a PNP and NPN transistors. Okay, we can consider this, either of this, as a two-port system, as you can see in the figure. A two-port circuit or a two-port network, you can call it. The two-port circuit, it is a transistor. It has a three terminals. I can show you like this, that this is the first terminal, this is the second terminal, and this, you can see here, this terminal is the common, the third terminal. Just like a transistor can have three terminals, we can kept one as common and rest of the two forming either input and output sections. So likewise here, we consider that the bottom line or the bottom points, this V1 line, this is a common line. This line where the current flowing through the two-port circuit carries a current I1 when a V1 voltage is applied, and likewise this line, another port which carries current I2 when a voltage V2 is existing between that two. So this is the one port of the network, and you can say this is the another part of the network. Okay, so a two-port network is like this, and we exactly consider it like this. Okay, one more thing, that it can be the common terminal here, it can be either emitter, either base, or a collector. We are not sure right now what is there inside it. We don't need to worry about it. Just we keep one of the terminal common like this, either it can be emitter, collector, or base, and likewise the rest of the three. Now as we can see, there are four variables in this figure. V1, you can say this is the input port, say, then it is the input voltage. V2, you can say that is the output port, so that is the output voltage. I1 current, that is the input current. I2, and that is the output current. So these are the four variables. Now we can relate all these four variables in different ways. There are many possible ways, as you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. There are 6 different ways in which we can arrange these 4 variables, while keeping 2 as a dependent and 2 as an independent variable. Now if out of these four parameter, if I select I1 and V2, once again I1 and V2 as an independent variable and V1 and I2 as a dependent variable, then whatever current relation we obtain and what the parameters we generate, they are called as the hybrid or H parameters of the circuit. So what are the H parameters now? Okay, we are able to define it. So out of these 6 possible ways, the 4 variables we can relate in a special way. Okay, like this, let V1 and I2 be dependent and I1 and V2 be independent. In that case, whatever relation we will obtain, they are called that relation is represented by some constants. Okay, for example, the input voltage Vi or V1, as you can see in the two-port network, can be represented as a combination of the another 2 independent variables I1 and V2. So V1 can be written as some constant multiplied by I1, the independent variable, plus some constant multiplied by the another independent variable V2. Now if we label these two constant, then here we call this as H11. Okay, we call this another as H12. Likewise, in a similar way, we can represent I2, okay, that is output current, as a combination of 2 independent variables I1 and V2. I1 multiplied by some constant, V2 multiplied by some constants. So I2, that is equals to, we can represent like this, H21 a constant into I1 plus H22 another constant